Hey everyone, welcome back to another first look video where my job is to take a closer look at some of the latest and greatest magic before it even hits the market. In today's video, I am proud to announce, after all these years and after you guys asking me when the heck are you going to put out your own book test, I finally sat my butt down and spent the last 6 months just doing nothing but focused on these books. And here I have 8 different titles. Yes, you heard that correctly. I'm coming out of the gate swinging with 8 different titles in the O'Brien book test. Now, this is actually going to be considered the O'Brien book test series 1, and the official title for this series is called the Progressive book test. And I'll explain why it's a progressive book test in just a little bit. But basically, what you need to know is that all of these books in this series, it doesn't matter which one you choose, and we're going to go over what those books are in here in just a minute. Doesn't matter what books you choose, they all use the same method. Now, I did this specifically because one thing that I really wanted to focus on when it came to putting out my own book test was to make it easy for both myself to perform and for the spectators to understand. Another thing that I wanted to focus on was the presentation. I didn't want it to just be another book test where I have someone think of a word, I read their mind, tell them what word that they're thinking of, and so on and so forth, because that can get very repetitive very quickly, right? And lastly, I wanted to be able to do a book test that did not require me to have to memorize anything. I don't want to memorize long words. I don't want to memorize what methods go with what book or any of that stuff. So basically what I'm telling you is it does not matter what title you pick out here. You could pick any of these titles and all of the methods, all of the stuff that you got to do with this, it's exactly the same. So let's just say you picked out this one or you picked out this one. It doesn't matter. They both work exactly the same way. All right, so I guess the first thing that we should talk about are what books are in the O'Brien Magic Book Test Series 1, right? So I've actually split this into 2 different parts. We have the close-up titles and we have the stand-up titles, right? So what are the close-up titles? We have The Gentleman, based off of the popular 2019 film, The Gentleman by Guy Ritchie. Fun fact, this book doesn't exist. This is a book that I decided I really wanted to do because it's one of my favorite films. It was either that or Legend, the Tom Hardy film. And I landed on The Gentleman because I absolutely love this film. It's an awesome gangster film if you haven't seen it. Highly recommend you watch it. And they made a TV series based on it as well. Of course, the classic, gotta have 1984 in my collection. That's 1984. And another George Orwell classic book, Animal Farm. Gotta have Animal Farm in there as well. The Lord of the Flies and A Tale of Two Cities. So all of these books are in the close-up series. The books are a little bit smaller. That way it's easier for the close-up performer to manage. You can stick this in your pocket. Or if you're performing close-up magic, you don't have these massive books with you. You can just use these books here. Those are the 5 close-up books. Then we have our 3 stand-up books. Because remember, there's 8 books total. We have Fahrenheit 451. We have The Handmaid's Tale. And my personal favorite, Phantom of the Opera. And this is actually the only hardcover book out of all of the books. And not only is it the only hardcover one, there's a very special method that's included, a sort of bonus method, if you will, that only works with this one book. But don't worry, we'll get to that in a little bit. So why did I choose the titles that I chose? Why are some of them bigger than others? For the stand-up titles, I wanted the books to be a little bit bigger, but also the font itself is a little bit bigger. It's just to make it easier for you to perform on stage. Have you ever had that spectator come up and they're just like, oh man, I can't see the words. The words are too small. I'm not wearing my glasses, right? So you like say, yeah, anywhere you want right there. Oh, I can't see the word. Oh, don't worry, here. we'll use this one instead. It's the large print edition, right? Because it has larger font size and it's just a larger book in general, the stand-up titles. The books themselves have also been printed all in different ways. One thing that I really wanted to do with this book test was make it feel very off the shelf, like it's a bunch of different random books that I just grabbed off of my bookshelf that are all from different publishers. I didn't want it to look like they were all produced by the exact same publisher, right? So the way that I did that was I added a few different elements in. Obviously, we have two different sizes, right? So if you compare the sizes of these books, you can see a noticeable difference in size right away, right? So I used different sizes. I used different page colors as well. So some of the books are printed on the white paper, and some of the books are printed on the cream paper. Let me see if I can, I don't know if the lighting is going to allow you to really get a good look at that. But there is a difference, right? So you have, here, let me see if I can, I'll do it like this. There we go. So you can see some of the books are printed on the white paper and some of the books are printed on the cream paper. Some of the books are glossy, right? Like you can see this has like a shine to it, right? Where's another glossy title? Lord of the Flies looks very glossy, right? Versus a more matte based finish like this. It's not as glossy, it's matte. Some of the titles are a soft matte, so they feel really smooth in your hand. And some of them are, I don't want to say a rough matte because they're not rough, but some of them are not that like sort of soft velvety feel. They just have like a matte texture to them like this, right? So you have different sizes, you have different finishes, you have different page colors. Of course, one of the books is even a hardcover book, so it really feels very off the shelf. Like you can tell your spectators, yeah, I grabbed, just some random books off of my bookshelf, just some light reading, nothing crazy, like Fahrenheit 451, Handmaid's Tale, Lord of the Flies, A Tale of Two Cities, Animal Farm, 1984, you're telling them just some light reading, so you have that gag. Of course, all of the titles in this series, I would not say anyone would classify them as light reading. These are all definitely very serious, very out there titles, which is why I chose these titles specifically. Not only are they some of my favorite novels that I've enjoyed reading over the years, but also they're novels that most people would look at and go, interesting choice of books that you have there, right? So, like I said, all 8 of these books are designed in such a way to make it feel very off the shelf, like I just grabbed some random books, right? So now for the moment you've all been waiting for, what methods are included in here. And like I said, all 8 of these books are going to do all of the same methods. So the first method that we're going to talk about is the flashback method. This is going to allow you to flick through the pages like this. The spectator can stop you at any page, and it doesn't matter what page they stop you at. You can immediately tell them what the first word on the page is. No fishing, no guessing, no forcing. It is a completely fair choice of a page. They could say stop there, or they can keep going if they want to, or it doesn't matter. They can really stop you anywhere that they want to stop, and you will instantly know what the first word on the page is. Now, I am going to probably get on this soapbox and harp at you guys throughout this entire video about the same thing. And that is, I wanted this book test to be very, very easy. Easy for my spectators, but most importantly, easy for me. I don't want to have to think. I don't want to have to translate. I don't want to have to decode. I don't want to have to do a bunch of mental gymnastics to figure out what the heck the word is that the spectator is looking at. Not just for this method, but for all of the methods in the book. Right? So as I flick through, they say stop. They're going to look at the first word on the page. I already know that they're thinking of the word where, and then I can read their mind and I can tell them exactly what word it is that they're thinking of. And again, it's easy peasy. Nothing crazy. Don't have to even think for a second. As soon as the spectator knows, I know what the word is, which makes it really cool, right? Now, Let's talk about another interesting method. And this is something that I'm going to say I came up with. I don't know if this has been done or not. I've looked extensively into this and I've not seen any other book tests do this. So I'm going to say that this is an idea that I've kind of come up with. If you guys have any resources for me, you're welcome to leave a comment in the comment section below. But as far as I can tell, no other book test is doing this. And this is something that I like to call the flash forward method. And just like flash back, it tells me what word it is that the spectator is looking at on that page. Flash forward allows me to skip to the next page and then tell them a word that they're looking at on that page. Now, in this case, it's actually not going to be the first word, because here's where the progressive book test starts to come in now. I don't want them to look at the first word. I want them to look at that entire first line, and I'm going to reveal the word that they're thinking of on the entire first line, right? So we already know flashback. I flick through like this. They look just like this at the first word on the page, and I'm going to read their mind and tell them that the first word that they're thinking of on that page is peril. Peril, like as in you're in peril, right? But then I'm going to say, I know what you're thinking. Maybe I just peeked at the word. Maybe I took a quick glance at that first word on that page. So do me a favor, flick to the next page. And the spectator, they're holding the book at this point. I'm not standing anywhere near them, or you can even have them pass the book to somebody else. And you say, flick to the next page. Don't just look at the first word, because who knows? Maybe I'm smart. Maybe I memorized the first word of every single page in this book. Don't give me too much credit. I'm not that smart. But maybe that's what I did. So don't just look at the first word. I want you to look at the entire first line. And I'm going to read their mind, and I'm going to tell them a word that they're thinking of on that first line is actually the word myriad. Myriad. What an interesting word. Myriad. Look, there it is right there. It's not the first word. It's actually in the middle of that first line, right? So using the flash forward method, I'm able to not just tell them what word it is that they're looking at on that page, but a word on the next page. And not just the first word on the page, but any word on that entire first line. I'll be able to reveal to them what that word is. Which leads me into my next method, which is something I like to call inception. Now, just like the Christopher Nolan film, which this method was inspired by, I was watching the film and I was like, wouldn't this be a cool way to force a word on somebody? For those of you not familiar with the movie Inception, basically it's about this team of guys that go into people's dreams and they steal information from their minds while they're asleep. This is something that they call extraction. Well, inception is the exact opposite. Rather than stealing information from their mind, they needed to plant an idea in the person's mind, right? So just like the film, we're going to use the inception method. So rather than telling the spectator to think of a word and then try to extract that word from their mind and try to figure out what the word is, we're going to use this inception method to get them to think of a specific word that I want them to think of. Basically, I'm going to force the word, but I'm going to do it in such a way that they feel like they came up with the idea, right? Because I don't want to just be like, look at the word myriad, right? Because it's somewhere in the middle of the line, and it's not the longest word necessarily. It's like 5 or 6 letters long. So I'm going to use this inception method to get them to think of the word that I want them to think of. And once you've learned this method, the beautiful part about this is you can actually use this inception method with any book. It doesn't even have to be one of my book tests. It doesn't have to be a gimmick. The inception method will work with any book if you really want it to, right? So maybe you're over at a friend's house. They found out that you're a mind reader and they want to see you do something cool. You can be like, yeah, go grab that book off the shelf, and you can do the inception method to them. And you can get them to look at a word on the first line of any page, and you can tell them exactly what word it is that they're thinking of, because you're not trying to figure out the word. You actually already know the word before they even know it. So that's the inception method. Really, really cool. Now, another method is going to be the any word on any page method, right? So I'm going to take the book, and you can either riffle to the page, or you can perform this completely hands-off. You can hand the book out to a spectator. You can walk away. You could be standing on the other side of the room, it doesn't matter. You will know exactly what word it is that they're thinking of. And they're not looking at the first word on the page. They're not looking at the first line on the page. They're actually looking anywhere on the page that they want. And not just the left page. It could be either the left page or the right page. It does not matter. And you are going to know right away exactly what word it is that they're thinking of. Now, remember at the very beginning of this whole thing, I told you I don't want to have to memorize anything, right? Because memorizing things is just too much work for me, especially when I'm up on stage and I'm trying to perform the thing and I have spectators in the audience shouting things out and I'm distracted by this guy over here and this girl keeps yelling things and she just keeps throwing tomatoes at me the whole time that I'm up here trying to read minds, right? And I have to deal with all of that. I don't want to have to memorize anything. So what I've done is I very cleverly and into the back of the book built in a crib. So you don't have to memorize any of the words that you're going to have the spectator looking at because the crib is built right here into the book. And not just one, not just two, all of the books have the crib built into them. And here's the beautiful part. The words that the spectator are going to think of are the exact same words in all 8 of the books. So let's just say you've been doing this for long enough that you've started to memorize the words. You don't have to know which words are in which book because all the words are the same. And another cool thing too is you can take a book, let's just say The Gentleman. I toss that book out to a spectator and I have them open it up to any page that they want. They find any word on the page that they want to, right? I don't have to take The Gentleman back and look at the crib on the back of that book. I can have another book just laying right down there in front of me and the crib is on that book and it's the same words that are in the book that they're holding. So I don't have to necessarily even be holding the book that the spectator is picking a word from. I can be holding any of these books and the crib is built in. So it's really cool. It makes it super easy to use and it's a very fair way to figure out a word that the spectator is thinking of and having it be found from anywhere on the page. So in my opinion, one of the cleanest methods out there, and it's a method that you're probably familiar with. I've added my own flair to it. I've also borrowed some ideas from Josh Sandman. I've borrowed some ideas from from Caleb Wade. I've borrowed ideas from all over. I've taken these little ideas and I've kind of combined them together to create the most streamlined and seamless version of this method that you guys have ever seen. So again, you don't have to memorize anything. It's just super direct and super simple, and you can tell them exactly what word it is that they're thinking of. Now, let's just say you don't want to have one spectator come up on stage with you. You want to try to make this play as big as you can. So you want to invite multiple spectators on stage. You can have one book in play, or you can have multiple books in play, right? Let's just say you have 6 different spectators come up on stage and each of them grab a book. You can tell all of them to open to any page that they want, look for the word on the page, close the book, and then you will tell them what words they are that they're thinking of. So you'll say, just everyone close your eyes, focus on your words, and you start rattling off words. If I got your word right, you can open your eyes and go back to your seat, and all 6 spectators will go back to their seats. This is your tossed out book. And the tossed out book can be done with one book, or it can be done with all 6 of the book, or all 8 of the books, I should say, right? You can have 8 different spectators choosing words. You can have 6 different spectators choosing words. You can use one book. You can use all of the books. It's completely up to you how you want to perform this. And again, you don't have to memorize anything. The crib is built into the back of the book. All you have to do is just recite the crib and you'll know exactly what words it is that the spectator is thinking of. Again, it's just so easy. It's just built in to the books. So you don't have to have anything extra. You don't have to have a pad of paper. You don't have to have a crib hidden up your sleeve or written on the palm of your hand or anything like that. It is built right into the books, right? And like I said, you can do this with one book or you can do this with multiple books. I love doing it with multiple books because you have a bunch of spectators come up on stage. They each pick a book You have them all at the same time think of a word, and then all at the same time you tell them what word they're thinking of. All of them are thinking of different words. They all go and sit down, and then bada bing, bada boom, you just blown, so many people's minds at once, and it's snappy. It moves things along. So if you're looking for a very quick, very easy to do sort of thing, the tossed out book is great. And again, you can use one book if you want. So you can just take one book, toss it out to the spectators. You can have them pass the book around, and they can each get words from different parts of the book, and you'll be able to tell them exactly what words it is that they're thinking of. Now, let's talk about the bonus phantom method. So not only are you going to be able to read spectators' minds and tell them what words they're thinking of, there are also in this book images as well. So you can have them, looking at words, and then if they happen to land on a page that has an image on it, you can even tell them what that image is, right? So in that case, they're thinking of a mask, right? Or maybe, let me find another one. Maybe they're thinking of a violin, right? You could do a drawing duplication if you want to. So you could say, just imagine in your mind an image of the thing that you're seeing, and then you can draw the picture. All the images are going to be things that are very easy to draw pictures of. You got like candles, a rose, a violin, safety pin, a mask, things like this. They're all things that you can draw kind of like a doodle very quickly. That won't take you any time, right? You can do in like 30 seconds or less this drawing. So you could do a drawing duplication with it if you want to, or you can just have the spectator visualize an image of that thing in their mind, and you can start to tell them like, oh, I'm seeing like, it's a very bright thing, almost like fire, right? Are you seeing like maybe like is it like a candle or like a candlestick or something like that, right? And you can read their mind and you can tell them what they're thinking of.